Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle with the ASIS strike.
You have done your work, you have put us to the wall. We are not the slaves.
I'm not a small boy. You should have given me the report.
I have not seen the report.
Good morning and welcome to Africa's Finest Breakfast Show. It's Global Morning on Global Television. My name is Anthony Momoni. Welcome to today's broadcast, the 26th day of February 2024. I'm not alone in the studio. I've got my co-anchor and she's ready to go. Good morning, Jumai.
Good morning. How are you doing, Anthony Momodu? And to each and every one of you out there, good morning. What happened to Africa's Finest?
Yeah, I said so. Okay, you were not listening, I guess.
I was
okay.
to the program, not to me.
Okay, to you, like.
You normally say, you always say, do you normally say my co-host African Finest, or what do you normally? Okay, it's the it's the program.
Show itself.
Oh, sorry.
So if the show is, then you are by extension, obviously.
Oh, Anthony, good morning. How was your weekend, by the way?
Great, a lot of stories and
a lot of stories, yes.
Lots of football in between too.
I know. Was the football god? Was he close by?
Yeah, this time it was in and out.
That cracks me up all the time. How are you all doing? It's a beautiful Monday morning. Yes, the 26th of February, the last week of the month.
So workers are usually very happy at this time.
Excited because salaries will be rolling in and lots of money will be rolling in. Well, it's a beautiful day. How you said your weekend was great, right?
Yeah, we had a lot of interesting stories. The government, from the government angle, and also the sporting angle. From the government angle, we know that let's start with not too pleasant story about the Minister of State for the FCT, in the person of Dr. Maria Mahmood, whose residence caught fire. Very sad, but it just goes back to tell us why we should have a very effective fire system. Because the Federal Fire Service and others who were not able to put out the fire, and it tells us we should also be very careful, and the need to have fire extinguishers very close
important.
by.
And we should know the right channel. You know, when I read that story, they said they didn't go straight to the instead of the emergency unit of the fire service called. We're calling the firemen. You know, there are two different things. We need to know the channel. You know, going to the emergency unit is very important, where you have the trucks, where you have calling the fireman at that point. I don't think there's much he can do, but going straight to the office, I think that was the needful. But who knows what started that fire? And it started at about 9:45 a.m. And the response was, well, it was immediate as at the time this report was filed. But hope they get to the bottom of it and investigations are made to know what started that fire incident.
Right, very sad commentary, but we know that thank God no life was lost.
Most important.
Another key issue that played out last weekend was the issue of the ECOWAS finally lifting up the sanctions against Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, and Guinea by extension. And the key reason was to promote the regional unity and also to avoid the region get into more chaos in terms of insecurity.
Exactly. You know, of course, this is the length period, so everything has to be subtle at this point. So I think that is a step in the right direction. Let's see how well it plays out and see how everyone can come together. It's very sensitive because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the chairman of ECOWAS. Of course, heading that, you know, he has to portray what he believes in and what he identifies with. So, of course, the lifting of that sanction is well, will I say it's a step in the right direction? Are we promoting more community groups to do the same thing? Or I don't know, but I think it's just bringing people together and just for the benefit of the populace. That's the most important.
All right, just to put it further, it doesn't mean ECOWAS is in support of military rulership, but just to ensure that it doesn't spiral into worse things. We must give special credit to one of the founding fathers in the person of General Yakubu Gowon, who actually presented the letter, the open letter to the president of the ECOWAS Community of West African States, Dr. Ali Omar, and the fact that he also did respond by taking it back to the heads of different states, and they actually listened to his very key advice. I think that was very positive, and so we're expecting the very best. We hope Mali, Guinea, Niger Republic, and Burkina Faso will be returning back to the ECOWAS bloc, and I hope that they've not gotten too used to being, on their own and want to continue that route, because the military junta, they have this knack for the quest of power, might not want to even come back into the fold, even if the sanctions are lifted. So let's see what's going to play out.
For me, I think it's a lesson that could be learned. If they've learned their lessons, of course, they will come back. But if they feel like freedom is key, or it's everything, or they feel standing alone is better, then it depends. It's a win-win situation at this point. But let's see how it plays out, basically.
All right, we've got other stories making the rounds. One very interesting story. In fact, I went hunting for that man, but I wasn't lucky enough. I think the Nigerian police beat me to it when the FCT minister put a bounty of 20 million.
Are you kidding me?
I put on all my investigative skills and went in search of this man here.
Oh my God, 20 million naira on your head, and we couldn't catch you.
I was close to catching him. So, all right, so that's the man that the FCT minister put 20 million naira bounty. He has been found. And what does this tell us about the power? Is it the power of money, or it's when the Nigerian police wants to get the job done?
I think it's the power of information. Okay. I think it's the power of getting this particular individual who has caused havoc, menace in the society, terrorizing this society, and kidnappings and all of those sorts are surrounding his name. I think it's the power of information, not the power of money. And it shows that the police, they're up on their game. I think regardless of the money, we've seen series of police officers in the likes of Ibrahim, who refused the bribe of $1 million, 1.5, 2 million. We've seen policemen who have done all of these. I think it's the power of doing their job and getting this criminal to book.
All right, very good to know that at least we have one less bad guy out there in the street. Yeah. All right, we have some other trending stories. We cannot but remember the fact that 27th and 28th is very close by, talking about the National Protest Day, which the Nigeria Labour Congress has proposed and still insisting. But we've got, it's worrisome because according to news breaking out today, it says 65 groups have pulled out. The TSU has also pulled out, and we've got the special advisor to the president on information and special duties saying, still warning the NLC not to go ahead with the strike. For me, it's two sides. One is the constitutional right of the NLC and Nigerians to protest.
Of course,
so
as long as they do not cause chaos.
So I don't think the federal government is being fair, trying to muscle them not to carry out the protest. And the special advisor on information and strategy, talking about Onanuga, I'm wondering, he's playing a role I don't quite understand, how he's also handing down warnings to the NLC. Is that his role to play? I just can't really understand where, do I understand where who he's standing for, but I just think it's kind of unfair. But at the same time, you look at the federal government's point of view, it makes sense. Some persons might want to hijack the process. Exactly.
That I was going to say that people, individuals want to hijack the process due to the of course, we know the motto of this, I would say the motto of this protest is because of the high cost of living, inflation, the subsidy, everything encompassed. Individuals are finding it hard to get by on a day-to-day. And of course, individuals are ready to, you heard what the northern leader said. They're tired of calming the youth. Anyone is looking for a very slight or small opportunity. Exactly. It's just like pouring fuel into fire, and that's what's going to happen. This little protest that you think is going to be peaceful might just ignite something really big. I hope we don't see something as close to what happened in SARS. So I'm sure that is what they're trying to avoid, to douse it down and just...
What?
I think that is it for me. For now, everyone should just maintain that calm and see how far this will take us. Let's just see how we can all come together and the NLC, of course, these bodies who are for the people, the voice of the people, of course, we know, come together and try to create this margin where we can see genuine hope in some sort, I think.
All right, and at least best advice from me to Mr. President. I think the best way you can calm these nerves is just put down the petrol price, and Nigerians will be super happy and nerves will be quite, relaxed. All right, talking about Mr. President, over the weekend, we got the big news that President Bola Tinubu did set up a tripartite economic advisory committee to, as according to him, to provide additional effort in stabilizing the economy and to ensure the best economic future for Nigerians. He had a meeting with some stakeholders, notably Tony Elumelu, the chairman of UBA, and also Aliko Dangote, chairman of Dangote Group, and Boa and other, key stakeholders. But my question is, does it mean his economic team in the CBN and other ministers of finance, it looks like he doesn't trust them enough now to deliver the goods, so he's going, trying to involve the private sector?
I think he's just trying to bring everyone together, different innovations.
Specifically the elites.
The elites, yes, exactly. I think bringing different ideas to see how to... I don't think it's all about him not trusting the hands that he has when it comes to CBN and all of those sectors. But I think bringing in the private elites shows that he wants to bring inclusiveness, everyone, both public and private, coming in together and to forge ahead the way forward. Because they have experiences. Everyone has different experiences. Everyone brings something to the table. I think that's what he's trying to do.
All right, the question will be, how would they be able to manage whose opinion or whose strategy comes first? Is it the CBN's strategy, the Minister of Finance, or this advisory committee? So in the coming days, we get to see how Mr. President and his team gets to turn around the fortunes of Nigeria, because it's saying to bring more stability. Let's see how this is going to play out. You've got any other story?
Basically, the stampede that happened in the customs office at a point where distribution was going on, and the custom officers were selling half bag of rice for 10,000 naira, and later on started giving it out for free, and people that died in that process.
Was it in the FCT or where?
It was in the FCT.
FCT,
I just not in the FCT,
okay.
not in the FCT.
So that stampede again, it's something not palatable.
Not at all, not at all. So unfortunately, individuals that died in that process due to the fact that hunger in the land, as people will say. So at that point, unfortunate incident there that happened. Very
sad commentary there, and we hope. For those that lost their loved ones, our heart goes out to them, and we hope the customs will do this distribution with a better strategy to avoid such occurrence in the future. That's what we're hoping. All right, we've got some other stories as regards the Muslim Media Watch Group of Nigeria, NMWG, a body of Muslim professionals. The national coordinator has joined voices with the youth wing of CAN, Christian Association of Nigeria, talking about Ibrahim Abdullah, who has called on the security agencies to, as a matter of urgency, arrest the Muslim cleric who has called for the killing of the president's wife because she's a Christian, and it shows intolerance in terms of religious affiliations, and we should reject such, utterances. Yes, and I think that was why he was being wanted in was it in Kano? So after that visit, so very sad commentary. We hope the Nigerian police and other security agencies would do well to hold such a man
accountable for his words.
Arrest him and put him behind bars, because such a person can incite the society.
Yes, he can.
We don't need such a person to be in our midst.
No, we don't.
All right, let's look at, let's give you a little bit of plenty stuff. Let's douse the tension a little bit, some sporting stories as regards what played out over the weekend. Chelsea fans had to cry again. It was blues for them all through as they lost the Carabao Cup 1-0 to Liverpool. And it's very sad. That's the man who has never won a trophy. Talking about the Chelsea coach, he looks like he's jinxed. He has never won a trophy. And we all thought maybe this weekend was going to be his first time, but he still lost out.
And I'm sure a very, very sad moment there, I am sure. But I'm sure he's used to it, basically.
used to lose it. That's very unfair.
No, but that's the truth. Please don't quote me.
Very unfair.
Please don't come for me.
Don't worry, you're not going to Argentina anytime soon, so he will not see you. He's from Argentina, but...
No, but seriously, but I'm sure he's used to it, so he shouldn't feel that bad. Like, God. It's a numb, like, we know how that plays out.
So sad. Pochettino, so sad. They say you're used to losing. All right. Okay, now that
better luck next time.
Now that we've made you laugh a little bit, let's just take you a little bit to Edo State before you give us something for breakfast, right?
Yeah, definitely.
We've got some story coming from Edo State where somebody's crying foul already, talking about the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shuaibu, who has said that he's worried about the scheme by his Oga at the top, like we say in Nigeria, talking about Godwin Obaseki, the governor of Edo State, and his cohort trying to impeach him, so to say, after he came out victorious in his own faction of PDP primaries. But it's laughable that people, you just go with you and your, I don't know, is it your setup, hold your own primaries in your own house and come out and tell us you're the candidate or that's chosen one for PDP.
Really. It's
another group
really.
goes, these are supposed to be adults.
Exactly.
And they're supposed to have, internal democracy in their party.
Unity has to play. I think, like, when I read that, really, like, parties need to come out and state out the norms, the do's and the don'ts, what you cannot do. That will be laughable for the general public to see and watch. This is so ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. And I hope everything gets sorted out. So, but he says it's his primary right to come out and do the needful by
no, now he's scared they are going to impeach him. So I'm wondering.
He's not scared. He said he cannot be intimidated. Didn't you hear what if you read one of the previous...
but he shouldn't have come out to start raising alarm that they want to
impeach him.
Yeah, he should have just stayed quiet. If he wasn't scared, you only voice out when you're trying to say, save me or see what it is.
But let's just see how well that plays out. And let's see if, justice should be served. Yeah. Let's just see how it goes. All right.
And you're taking us, I think it's time for breakfast.
Of course. At this point, the taste and texture. And if you're like Anthony that is wondering what the recipe this morning, well, you just have to sit back, pull up a chair, and let's watch what taste and texture is all about. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Taste and Texture. I'm Fatimi Abu Umar. Plantain puff puff. Nothing beats homemade puff puff. This version of puff puff is made by adding plantains together with yeast butter, and they turn out soft, savory and sweet. They are fresh, soft and chewy. Not to mention, they are super easy to make and absolutely delicious. You will get addicted. If you like plantains and puff puff, then you will love this plantain puff puff. Make sure you make enough of this to go around. How to achieve a perfect plantain puff puff? In order to achieve the perfect texture of your plantain puff puff, you will need these ingredients: 2 plantains overripe, half onion medium, 1 habanero pepper or scotch bonnet, 2 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of sugar optional, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of yeast. Blend the onions, habanero pepper and plantains until a smooth batter is formed. Set aside in a large bowl. Combine the flour, sugar, salt and yeast. Pour the blended butter and warm water into the flour mixture and mix until they well combined. About 1 minute. Cover and leave the mixture with fitting lid or a plastic wrap and leave to rise for at least 1 hour or until the batter has risen about twice its original size. Mix the dough once again to remove most of the trapped air. Preheat the oil in a deep pan about 375 degrees. Start frying in small batches. Don't crowd the oil. Cook until the puff puff becomes golden brown and fluffy. Turn in a couple of times to fry evenly on all sides. Drain on a paper towel and serve immediately. Serve with a cup of tea, juice, coffee or wine. Coat with sugar or honey or dip in a sauce. Well, sugar is optional. And now to the health benefits. 1. Good source of fiber. The key ingredients of puff-puff is flour. Flour is rich in dietary fiber, which helps to keep your digestive system healthy by helping to prevent constipation and hemorrhoids caused by straining on the toilet. It also promotes regular bowel movement and lowers blood cholesterol level. Good source of energy. Puff-puff is good source of carbohydrates, which your body uses for energy. Carbohydrates are broken down into glucose molecules during digestion. They are then absorbed into cells, metabolized into energy, or stored as glycogen in the liver or muscle tissues. A good source of vitamins and minerals. When puff-puff is made with the right ingredients, including veggies, it becomes a good source of vitamins and minerals. A healthy puff-puff pastry contains decent amount of micronutrients such as iron, copper, vitamin K, vitamin B, manganese, selenium, thiamine, phosphorus, zinc, and magnesium. Puff-puff is incomplete without eggs. These eggs serve as a good source of protein. However, the protein tend to get from puff-puff is small due to the small number of eggs used in making puff-puff. Perfect light snack. Puff-puff can serve as a perfect light snack when you don't want to consume heavy food. See you same time next time for another mouth-leaking episode of Taste and Texture.
All right, I guess I'm already belly full, but it feels like it's going to be very, very sweet, and I think adding sugar might be an overkill.
No, the thing is, that's why pepper and onions is very important for those that, like someone like me, I have a sweet tooth, so whether you add the sugar or not, I'm fine with it. It just depends on the beverage now will actually complement.
Okay, so what's beverages?
You can use
no water?
Water is fine, or you can zobo with very little water, just fruits will be fine, or maybe tea, chocolate drink without adding the sugar, just to complement it a bit. But really, when you say belly full, like, it cracks me up all the time.
Okay, it's just another way of saying I think I've gotten my fill, right?
I know when you say belly full,
okay,
but you know,
because I'm supposed to say belly full.
The pidgin English is
the version, pidgin English version sounds nicer.
Exactly, it cracks me up all the time. All
right, so now at least you have an idea what you could have this morning, so that you're well prepared for the task today. We've given you some big stories making the rounds, so we're expecting the very best. And still talking about the two key things we're looking forward to. One has gone by, talking about ECOWAS lifting up the sanctions. So waiting for the response of Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali and Guinea to see how they respond. And if their responses is going to be positive, then while we're also looking ahead to what the new Economic Advisory Committee would do to help stabilize the economy of Nigeria. And
very important.
Also, last week we heard about the new guidelines brought out by the CBN as a way of checkmating the BDCs. How key do you think that's going to be?
I think it's going to play a very long role, and let's just see how well it stabilizes the issue and the situation that we have on ground for guidelines, rules, and regulations. I think it's I think it's a step in the right direction in the sort of way, but let's just see how well that plays out to actually regulate all of these issues that we have on ground.
For the NLC, do you think it would make sense for them to still go ahead with the strike, having 65 groups pull out, having their main partner in TUC also, pull out? Or would you think they'll be like, in order to save their face and not look like, okay, the chicken down, they would want to insist on it.
Tony, you see, that's not the issue. If everyone keeps saying it's because you want to chicken out, I think you should do the right thing. They should go by re-strategize. Why are 65 of their members leave? That's a lot. 65 groups, that is a lot. And of course, one of their key group TUC, it's not part of this strike. It means that they should go back to the board, come back and see, make negotiations and see how far this will play out for the benefit of those who in whom they are represented. So it doesn't mean they're chickening out or anything like that. It's just for the benefit and for, for each and every one of us to move forward. It's just for the betterment of individuals in our society. People are going through a lot, yes, but of course, that protest will ignite a lot of issues that will get out of hand.
But is there this part of you that believe that probably the federal government is using that as a smoke screen to stop the protest? And rather than them stop the protest, why wouldn't they go ahead to do the needful to, make people feel better?
But I want to ask you a question. What has protests that we've had, what outcome?
It has always, the fact that whenever the NLC or groups protest, ASU, and professional bodies protest, that's when the government seems to want to be more proactive. They get the job done. They make promises or they take steps to sort things out. We saw the national road transport owners, truck owners last week, because they dared to want to protest. The government was willing to say, okay, we're going to fix the roads, we're going to increase your freight, fees and all that. So the question is, why would you always wait for these issues to occur? France is another country that do live on protest. Their truck drivers usually go on protest every time there's any slight. It's a way of holding the government responsible. But for Nigeria, we feel like, should they always get to that point?
But the thing is, Anthony, for me, it's a different ball game now because, there's a lot of tension as we speak in the country. The nation is tense. Youths are angry. So many people are angry. Sectors, civil servants are angry. The layman on the street is angry. Any little thing might be worse as what we saw during the NSAS. You saw what happened during the NSAS. A lot of people allegedly heard
I had
died.
I practically had to put my suit and everything in my bag when I was going to work.
Okay, because we're not sure whether you'll be able to come home.
The truth is, if they see you looking nice, you become a victim.
Exactly.
So you have to look like one of them, pretend to be the
exactly.
The
so any way or anything possible to do to just stay away from that avoid it completely. So it's not the right time. When all of these issues happen, the protests that we've had, subsequent protests, youths were not this angry. If you look at it, it's a different ball game now, so you have to be very cautious. I think that's what the federal government, they're doing, not trying to play around. And I'm not supporting them either, but it's just what I see. I think that's the right thing, and I think that's the right step in the right direction.
All right, so we hope everybody would put the interest of the nation first in whatever they're going to do, especially in Nigeria Labour Congress. And not to forget our darling Super Falcons, who today, make sure everyone, once it's around 4, you should be heading towards the MKO National Stadium, Abuja, to support the darling Super Falcons, who will be playing Cameroon, second leg qualifying, trying to qualify for the Olympic Games. The first leg in Douala ended goalless, so we're hoping that the Super Falcons, who are Africa's 9-time champions, will be able to win today in Abuja so that they can get set to, on their route to qualify for the Olympics in Paris 2024. And we wish them all the very best.
Definitely.
And the Super Falcons, they're our female national team, so
of
let's go there and support them.
They're always doing us proud, so we're behind you 101%, if there's anything like that.
Yeah, all right, when it comes to the Falcons, there's something like that. All right, it's time for the Global AM News, where we'll give you all the big stories making the rounds. That will be after this very quick break. Stay with us.
Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to AM News on Global TV. We are live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Jumai Manson. Now the news in full. President Tinubu is expected to travel to Qatar between March 2nd and 3rd on official visit on the invitation of the Emir of Qatar, His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. In a statement issued by Basayo Ononuga, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, explained that the state visit is aimed at strengthening the bilateral economic cooperation between Nigeria and Qatar. The event is put together by the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, NACSIMA, and Qatar's Chambers of Commerce and Industry, where business people from Nigeria will engage in their counterparts from Qatar on commercial and investment opportunities available in both countries. Vice President Kashim Shettima has emphasized the need to address the problem of poor border security in order to be able to solve the general security crisis facing the nation. Vice President Shettima, who stated this during a meeting with a delegation from the Border Communities Development Agency led by its Executive Secretary, Captain Junaid Abdullahi, at the State House Abuja, also said the role of the agency is changing the nation's security landscape. The Vice President, however, pledged the federal government's action to secure and develop Nigeria's border communities to improve the lives of residents and the security situation in the country. Shettima stressed the importance of border communities in national security and pledged continued support for their development needs. The presidency says the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security in the final stage of releasing 42,000 metric tons of assorted food items to support vulnerable populations across the country. A special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, made the disclosure in a statement in Abuja. He said the grains were bagged in seven locations for onward distribution to the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. According to him, after bagging, the distribution would commence immediately, adding that the first batch would be complemented by the 60,000 metric tons to be purchased by the federal government from the mega rice millers. Still on AM News, operators of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, says it has made significant strides in dismantling an organized criminal network responsible for the recent importation of illicit drugs and arms. The agency stated that it uncovered a sophisticated criminal syndicate responsible for the importation of the 2 containers laden with illicit drugs and assorted arms from Durban, South Africa, to the Tinkan seaport in Lagos. The arrests included clearing and notify party Falomo Samuel Kayode, a dock worker identified as Ajonri Dowu, and Uzaru Ahmed Uguda, who holds a position of authority at the 5-star terminal within the port. Additionally, Mohammed Mukhtar Sule, alias Organizer, suspected to be a crucial figure within the syndicate, remains at large. The Minister of Information and Culture, Mohammed Idris, says the government will go after economic saboteurs, adding that since the removal of the petrol subsidy, petrol importation has dropped by 50%, amounting to 1 billion litres monthly, according to data released by the National Bureau of Statistics. He also noted that the crude oil production is rising steadily, increasing to an average of 1.55 million barrels per day in Q4 2023 from 1.22 million barrels per day in the preceding quarter. The minister therefore emphasized that the monthly receipts by states from the Federal Account Allocation Committee surged since the subsidy removal, giving government at all levels billions of naira in extra headroom to deliver the dividends of the democracy to Nigerians. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has revealed that the federal government released 313.4 billion naira for the conduct of the 2023 general elections. The Commission, in its 2023 general election report released on Friday, said out of 355 billion naira approved for the conduct of the elections, the sum of 313.4 billion naira was only released as of October 2023. According to the report, based on the key activities in the approved election project plan for the 2023 general election, INEC proposed a budget of 305 billion naira for the conduct of elections. The breakdown of this amount showed that the Commission asked of 159.7 billion naira for electoral operations, 117.3 billion naira for electoral technology, and 20.4 billion naira for electoral administrative cost. President Bola Tinubu led governors, members of National Assembly and other dignitaries to the final burial ceremony of former governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, in Owo. The Secretary of the Government of the Federation, George Akume, and governors of Ekiti, Osun, Enugu, Bayelsa, Kwara, Benue, Lagos, Anambra, Ogun, Oyo, and Delta states were also in attendance. National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Abdullahi Ganduje, chieftains of the party and other dignitaries were also present at the burial ceremony filled with grief held at St. Andrew's Cathedral in Mola, Owo. Tinubu said it was not a day to mourn, but a remembrance and celebration of life to God and humanity of Akeredolu, who served humanity to the best of his ability. The Gombe state government has announced the discovery of 523 ghost workers following the implementation of a biometric verification register for civil servants in the state. Governor Inuwa Yahaya discloses during the induction of newly recruited biometric supervisors in the state. Represented by his deputy, Manasseh Jatau, the governor stated that biometric verification, which commenced 3 years ago, has exposed non-existent workers and saved the state approximately 1.5 billion naira. He said the state deployed 4,000 biometric machines for attendance registration across all areas, facilitating the discovery of ghost workers. Due to the rise in economic hardship across the country, the Nigerian Correctional Service lamented that the present feeding rate of inmates was grossly inadequate. The inmate population, according to the latest summary on the website of the service, is 77,602, out of which convicted inmates are 23,896 and awaiting trial inmates, 53,706 according to the 2024 budget. The service is to spend 24,447,582,237 naira on the supply of catering materials and foodstuffs. Nababa, however, noted that the service had proposed an upward review of 3,000 naira daily feeding cost for an inmate, and the proposal had been submitted to the Ministry of Interior. You're watching AM News, and it's coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Remember, we're on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using at Global TV NG and at handles now showing on your screen. When News AM returns, don't go anywhere. Please stay with us. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is AM News on Global Television, and we're bringing you live broadcasts from AM News. Thank you for staying with us. Still on the news, the Commandant of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC Federal Capital Territory Command, Olushola Odumosu, has assured residents that vandalism of critical national assets and infrastructure in the territory will soon be over. Odumosu gave this assurance during a visit to the Abuja Municipal Area Council, AMAC, Chairman Christopher Mekalangu in Abuja. He noted that the command would sustain its war against criminal elements in the FCT, particularly vandals who are shortchanging the citizens of the dividends of democracy. 18 out of 24 lawmakers in the Zamfara State House of Assembly have impeached the Speaker, Bilyaminu Maruki. The lawmakers, however, rectified Honorable Bashir Gumi as the pro-temporal Speaker. Reports gather that 18 out of 24 members unanimously agreed to impeach the Speaker during an emergency meeting. This medium further learned that the removal of the Speaker may not have been unconnected with the motion moved by one of the members representing Maru constituency. Honorable Nasiru Abdullahi, the lawmaker, said that the Speaker's impeachment followed the reassurance of insecurity as a result of the bandits' persistent attack on communities across the state. The Trade Union Congress has warned that the planned protests on February 27th and 28th, being championed by the Nigerian Labour Congress, may lead to anarchy. This is as the union stated that the country was too volatile and tense because of the prevailing hunger in the land. This warning was made by the Deputy President of the TUC, Dr. Tommy Etim. The organized labor plans to embark on a two-day strike on Tuesday and Wednesday to protest the hardship currently being faced by Nigerians following the dramatic hike in the prices of goods and services due to removal of fuel subsidy and the free fall of Naira, among others. Pockets of protests had broken out in Kano, Niger, Oyo, and Osun, among other states, with protesters urging the government to take decisive steps to bring the hardship to an end. The Nigerian Center of Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, has confirmed that Lassa fever was responsible for the death of 3 workers and 1 patient at the 44 Nigerian Army Reference Hospital, Kaduna State. The disease center said 4 of the 6 blood samples from suspected cases at the hospital sent to Bayero University Teaching Hospital in Kano have been confirmed by Lassa fever. The Director General of NCDC, Jide Idris, disclosed this at a press briefing in Abuja, noting that 25 close contacts of all the cases are now being monitored and have been placed on palliative medicines. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has introduced a fresh set of guidelines to keep Bureau de Change BDCs in check. Under the new guidelines, BDCs in the Tier 1 category must have a capital requirement of 2 billion naira, where Tiers 2 BDCs must have a capital requirement of 500 million naira. Tier 1 BDCs formerly were expected to cough out 15 million naira to acquire the license. This represents a 13,233.33% license-free hike. The CBN was forced to come up with a new set of guidelines in order to address the ongoing foreign exchange crisis in the country. The chairman of Northern Elders Forum, Ango Abdullahi, has endorsed the proposed amendment of Nigerian Constitution to revert to the parliamentary system of government. Abdullahi gave the endorsement while hosting members of the House of Representative Parliamentary System Caucus. Global TV had reported the introduction of the constitutional alteration bill seeking to amend Constitution to abolish the presidential system and reintroduce parliamentary system of government in the country. A group of 60 members of the House are pushing the legislation in the National Assembly, and they have been moving around the country to solicit support for the bill. Nigeria practiced the parliamentary system in the First Republic. Still on the news, Nigerian football coach Sebastian Bedrick has been laid to rest in Benin, Edo State capital. This was during the laying-in state of the late Bedrick at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City. Technical Director of Nigerian Football Federation, Austin Eguavon, who represented the federation, described the late coach as a father, mentor, amiable and highly dedicated coach who dedicated his life to the well-being of Nigerian players. Bedrick won the first FIFA Young Championship in Nigerian Africa ex-internationals. Victor Ikpeba, Baldwin Bazoye, Peter Nikin, and Edo State Sports Commissioner Chairman Yusuf Ali were also presented to pay their last respect. The Flying Eagles will play at least 2 top friendly matches in Ghana ahead of all African Games campaign. The under-20s are due to play out to Ghana on March 1st and will play the test games before their opening group game on March 7th, officials disclose. The Flying Eagles will again be led by coach Ladin Bosso, who is working on taking the team of experienced players like Daniel Daga and Daniel Bamiyi, as well as a handful of players from the last year's Golden Eaglets. The team has been training in Abuja, where they have been playing test games against academics, mainly based in Abuja. Heavyweight Nigeria and Cameroon fought to 0-0 draw in their 2024 Women's Olympic Football Tournament first leg encounter in Douala. The 9-time champions of Africa took the pitch with their usual dash and gloss and forced consecutive throw-ins, yet the game would become a ding-dong as time wore on. And on the 27th minute, midfielder Tommy Payne wasted a good opportunity to put Nigeria ahead. 12 minutes later, the indomitable Lioness caught sight of goal, but goalkeeper Chiamaka Inadozie, one of the world's safest pair of hands at the moment, had things covered. In the second half, the Lioness stepped up their games as they were urged on by the home crowd at the Stade de la Reunification Douala, yet it was Nigerian had the ball in the net 5 minutes into the second half, only for Ugandan referee Shamari Nabada to rule Jennifer Eggenini offside. And now to end the AM news on Global Television, a quick look of our top stories again. President Tinubu has been scheduled to visit Qatar, where he expected to discuss trade partnership. Nigerian Central Bank has introduced measures to check excesses of bureau de change operators. In sports, we told you Nigerian held Cameroon to a goalless draw in their 2024 Women's Olympic Football Tournament third round first leg. And that's it on AM News, and it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We are on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using at Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching. See you again. Good morning.